As Delhi has been grappling with severe cold in the recent days, the flight operations at the Indira Gandhi International Airport in the national capital have been badly hit due to a thick blanket of fog and the unavailability of Cat 3 compliant runways. Delhi Airport currently has only one Cat 3 equipped runway for operations in low visibility. Out of 28, 10 have been closed for scheduled recarpeting since mid-September as per reports. Let's give you more details on this in our special graphics, of course. Let's quickly explain for you what the current scenario is and what Cat 3 technology, of course, is and why it is very important. Remember, Cat 3, of course, is a type of instrument, landing system, and ILS, of course, that helps pilots land in, in very low visibility conditions. Obviously, it allows airplanes to land in these conditions. And Cat 3 systems, of course, use a combination of radio signals and special lighting to guide pilots to the runway. So obviously, that's a system that helps the pilots, of course, land in, as I said, very low visibility conditions. The radio signals provide precise information about the exact position of the airplane. And a special lighting system also helps the pilot align the airplane with the runway. Also, in fact, this technology helps in landings with as little as 50 meters of visibility. 50 meters, of course, remember, is just 164 feet. It also reduces the risk of accidents, which are sometimes caused due to very low visibility. So obviously, Cat 3, of course, very, very important. And it is very important that our runways, of course, are also well equipped with this technology. And of course, that is something that many of our airports and runways now are being equipped with slowly but surely. And this, of course, is the big technology that many of our airports now across the country are using. Big developments that we are tracking for you. Remember, many of our airports, of course, are equipped with such runways. Remember, obviously, Delhi does have a Cat 3 compliant runway, but remember, some of the runways are, of course, closed for repair as well, which is what caused the huge disruption that we saw just a day ago. And obviously, it's important that further runways are also renovated, are also upgraded as soon as possible in at least the big centers of the country. So these, of course, are the big developments we are continuing to track for you. Delhi, of course, remember, is grappling with severe cold in recent days. So, the national capital has been badly hit due to a thick blanket of fog and the unavailability of Cat 3 compliant runways. Delhi Airport, remember, has just one runway right now, which is obviously Cat 3 compliant. And remember, out of this, several of the runways have, of course, been closed for operations. That several of these runways are closed for recarpeting. Let me try and bring in a guest, in fact, who is joining us live. Air Vice Marshal Suryakant Chafikar is live with us. I presume he's an aviation expert because I've not been provided his designation, but of course he's been a veteran of the Indian Air Force. Also with us is Group Captain MJ Augustine Vinod. I'm afraid I don't have your designation as well, sir, but I will introduce you as a defense expert and, of course, also as an aviation expert. Let me quickly bring you in here, Air Vice Marshal, into the conversation first. What do you believe needs to be the overhaul that is needed in our airports and our air infrastructure to deal with the menace of fog? It's seen every year in the winter.
You mentioned about the runway requirements very well.
Yes.
However, here I like to state something more, that even the aircraft need to be equipped and the pilot need to have that category or categorization which will enable them to use this Cat 3 ILS. So for that, they have to be equipped with certain number of sorties done under those visibility conditions, simulated or actual, and then only they are authorized to land on Cat 3 runway. It is not that any airline pilot who comes in and has given a Cat 3 kind of a instrument landing system, he can use it. No, it is not. So there are certain requirements for the pilot also, and that brings in a added, you can say added requirement as such. So runways having Cat 3 ILS is not sufficient. Even the pilot needs to be trained for that. And every airline pilot, it is impossible to train him for this because the requirements of training are pretty high, and the currency which they have to maintain is also required. So having Cat 3 runways available, like you mentioned in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta, is not sufficient. Even the airlines which are operating there need to have pilots, and that many numbers of pilots, so that all the flights which get airborne in this foggy condition can utilize the Cat 3 ILS. And as you said, Cat 3 ILS has got category one, A, B, C. So A, B may be used, but for Cat 3 C, there is a special requirement. As you rightly mentioned, some radio rates and lighting systems are used for that. But training of pilot is equally important.
Absolutely. A very apt point, of course, made by you. Training of pilots, equipping of pilots with those skills is very important. Group Captain Augustine, Vinod, your first comments, sir, on what is the need of the hour right now. Obviously, upgradation is needed of the runways, of the air infrastructure, of these, runways to be Cat 3 compliant, of course, in most of the big centers of the country. But what else, sir? Group Captain Augustine, Vinod.
Am I muted?
No,
Okay,
we can hear you,
muted.
sir. We can hear you. Yes, yes.
So first thing first, I'm a current Airbus 320 captain,
Okay.
and I have been through what we call this all-weather operations training, which includes low visibility takeoff and Cat 3 landing. All right. So certain things I want to update our viewers and you, and Chafeka sir, for your information as well. Certain updations have happened. So I'll first highlight about Cat 3. There's much talked about Cat 3 landings very often whenever such incidents of passengers getting stuck in airport takes place. Actually, Cat 3 landing is not the problem. That we need to understand very, very clearly. For Cat 3 landing is always auto land, which means the aeroplane lands by itself. The pilot has no input till the aeroplane touches down and it comes to a certain speed on the runway. Then pilot takes over control, and only the pilot skill is only utilized to bring the aeroplane back to the aero bridge. Up to that point, the aeroplane does everything by itself. You need to understand this. Cat 3 is always auto land. The visibility requirement for Cat 3 auto land is 75 meters only. For an aeroplane like Airbus, it is only 75 meters. And why do we need 75 meters? So that the pilot can see lights ahead of him, and those lights are in certain color or in certain number, so that he can come back to, and it guides. The light guides. It is called the LVP, low visibility procedure. The light guides him to where he needs to come and park. I hope I made that point clear. Now come to takeoff. No aeroplane in the world can take off automatically. I repeat, there is no aeroplane in the world which is certified to take automatically. All takeoffs are manual. which means for takeoff, you need 125 meters, not 75. You need minimum visibility in aeroplanes like aerodromes like Delhi. You need a minimum visibility of 125 meters. In smaller airports, you need a minimum visibility of RVR, or runway visual range, as we call it, of 500 meters, or if the visibility is reported, it is 800 meters. So let's talk about Delhi. So Delhi, what is the critical path or the critical requirement? It is not a Cat 3 landing system. It is the takeoff requirement. The runway visual range of 125 meters is required. So if the visibility runway visual range is measured by an equipment called transmissometer, it automatically measures the visibility in the landing direction. So it looks at both sides. And there are three of them, one in the middle, one in the center, and one at the beginning of the runway where you want to touch down. So when the RVR reported, runway visual range is short form to RVR, and when the RVR reported is 100 meters, all landings can take place like it happened yesterday. Landings were happening, not a problem. Cat 3 was not the issue. Landings are happening automatically because Cat 3 is auto land, the aeroplane comes and lands and everybody comes inside. Takeoff is the problem. You need 125 meters. Automatic takeoff is yet to be certified by any aeroplane in the world. I hope I made myself clear on that. Third is about training. No airline pilot, I repeat, no airline pilot comes and sits in the cockpit without having undergone something called LVTO, low visibility takeoff. So all pilots are trained for low visibility takeoff. I hope I put that third point to rest. Coming to the fourth point, which is Cat 3 certified pilots coming into land. All pilots operating out of Delhi or in area where low visibility can occur are trained for Cat 3 operations. And it is a 2-day training. Most airlines do this 2-day training during a 6-monthly testing of the pilots. We call it the IRPPC, the proficiency test which happens. During that time, all pilots undergo this 2-day training. All pilots operating out of Delhi or into Delhi are Cat 3 trained. There is no problem as far as number of pilots training for Cat 3 is concerned. The requirement is only 3 landings, auto land, in 6 months, which most pilots achieve in any case. So that is also not a critical path. So what we need to understand here is it is not a systemic failure. It is just pure weather god playing spoil sport. That is all. And it is not a requirement of, it is not the Cat 3 landing facility. Only one runway had it, actually 2. 1 left and 2 right, both has Cat 3. There are 8 runways, for example, for your information. 4 landing strips, 8 runways. Every landing strip has 2 sides, so that is called 2 runways. 09 is 1 runway, 27 is the other. 28 is 1, and 2810 that you called is the other one. 1 left, 1 right, 29 left, 29 right. There are 8 runways, 4 landing strips. Out of these 8 runways, 3 has Cat 3 landing facility. There is no Cat 3 ABC anymore. It is Cat 3 with DH, Cat 3 without DH. So that ABC, what erstwhile ABC has gone out of the window almost a year ago. So Cat 3 with DH is 50 feet of minima, in which you can manually take over flare and land, in which there is no auto land. And Cat 3 without DH is auto land. But most airlines have said, whenever you do a Cat 3 landing, you please do an auto land. Whether with DH or without DH doesn't matter. So I hope I put all these things in perspective for people to understand that it is pure requirement of being patient till the visibility improve to 125 meters, in which aeroplanes can take off. Landing wale to bahar se aa rahe hain. They are coming from outside. They didn't cause the commotion, isn't it? The commotion was caused at the departure point. People who came and landed, they have gone to arrival and they have exited that aerodrome, Delhi. वो तो निकल गए बाहर, घर चले गए. So people who are going, they got stuck, and they got stuck because of what? They got stuck because of visibility not improving to 125 meters. What if I was in Frankfurt? What if I was in London? What if I was in Heathrow? Or what if I was in, say, Newark, and the visibility was 100 meters? It would have been exactly the same, because 125 meters visibility requirement is universal. It has nothing to do with Delhi, India, anywhere. It is ICAO rules. As simple as that. I hope I put all these points to rest. So people need to learn patience. Mujhe yaad hai, I mean, I'm sure Chapekar sir will bear me out on this. We used to come from Northeast on a meter gauge train. Mughal Sarai mein I had to change train to a broad gauge and come to my home in Mumbai. I slept in the platform once, missed the train. I've slept in the platform for 72 hours. 3 दिन तक train ही नहीं मिला. But we roughed it out. The instant gratification is something that people need to, understand that not always you will get instant gratification. I had to talk to my mother. I couldn't. I had to write chitti. I'm sure all of us of our age have written chitti only. We had to write letters, wait for the letter to reach mom, and it came back after 8-10 days. So instant gratification of pick up a phone and talk did not exist. So this instant gratification culture, though it is very good, at some point in time, this instant gratification culture kills what is called the best virtue that one can have, patience. That is what the whole thing boils down to, patience. Because you can't fight the weather, you can't fight the nature, one needs to understand. You can't fight tsunami, can you? So it is something like that. Over to you.
All right, let me in fact take that to Air Vice Marshal Jafikar. And also, the problem arose in Delhi because I think the other, runways which are Cat 3 compliant are under renovation. Obviously, those are things now that need to happen in a time-bound manner. I think the statistics show that almost 10 runways across the country are actually closed as of now.
No. It is landing. No.
Air Vice Marshal. No. That question is for Air Vice Marshal Jafikar. I'll come back to Group Captain.
Yeah. As Group Captain Augustine very clearly said, the commotion has been caused because of takeoff. Before I could get this takeoff point, it was handed over to him. So, and what he says about Cat ABC, it is just 1 year change, which I am not aware of because I am not in current flying at all. However, I was involved in this activity when we had started clearing our pilots for VVIP flights in our military aircraft for Cat 3 ILS. So based on that knowledge, I had mentioned that yes, even landing, the training requirements are there. In civil airlines, the simulator training of 6 months is there but for us, the simulator training has to be planned out. That is why the pilots who are trained for this only are used during low visibility conditions. Not all pilots in Indian Air Force are cleared. And I am talking about VVIP flights. That is what my contention was. Takeoff, yes, very clearly mentioned, very aptly explained by Group Captain Augustine, that 125 meters is the issue. And if once you can land, but however, when you have to take off, this visibility criteria is going to restrict you. Availability of runways and number of runways is going to be an issue in Delhi, even if it is a good weather condition, but the traffic has been stopped for some other reasons also. It does happen in other seasons also. So, as he said very rightly, patience is the only need of the hour, and definitely a pilot cannot be blamed for this, is my other point. And to avoid this situation, I think the administrative part of the airline needs to come in and explain the people what is the problem area, because most of the civilians will not know that takeoff is the issue point, and it has nothing to do with pilot as such, and it is because of sheer weather.
Yes. Okay. Let me, in fact, take that across to Group Captain Vinod as well. on the current infrastructure, those upgrades that are needed. Obviously things need to be very time bound, isn't it? Because if runways are closed, that's simply a man-made situation, because every winter there is going to be fog and there are going to be low visibility scenarios in several cities, and that will cause chaos like we saw yesterday in Delhi.
Again, please don't misunderstand me. I am not batting for anybody. I am only speaking the truth and I am only speaking the fact. Okay, let's see fact as it is on the ground. The fourth runway came up in the recent times in Delhi. The Dwarka side, we had only one runway, 1129. Now we have two runways there, 1129 left, 1129 right. Left-right runways. So when 2810, 2810 as you called it, before it was closed down, the new runway came up and aapne wo dekha hoga bridge. The bridge which is connecting the new runway where the aeroplane goes over the road. I am sure you have seen that. So that particular taxi track was built so that aeroplanes from that side, the T1 side, can take off from this runway using that taxiway which goes over the highway. So you had last winter 3 runways. You have this winter also 3 runways. And like I told you, LVTO, low visibility takeoff, does not require Cat 3. You can take off from any of these now 6 runways, because all 6 are LVTO capable. You understanding what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So for low visibility takeoff, Cat 3 is not required. Only requirement for low visibility takeoff is that the lighting should be conducive for low visibility takeoff, which all runways are, and the pilot should have done the training, which all pilots are. Before they even step into the cockpit of an airliner, all pilots are LVTO trained. So what eventually the bottleneck now comes to visibility reported by the equipment transmissometer. There is no humans involved in this. It has to read 125 in all 3 locations. Runway has 3 points. All 3 locations it has to read 125. What if it reads 124 in one location? It is a no-go, which is what the Minister Jyotiraditya Scindiaji's tweet, if you read it carefully, it says, in the interest of passenger safety, we stopped the operation. Because it is very, very watertight. We need to understand this. And why did we reach this watertight situation in civil aviation? Because over a period of time, when people violated, there were accidents.
Okay.
So today, there cannot be a situation where aapki meri chalti hai.
Right.
It cannot happen.
All right. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that. My thanks to both of our guests for joining us on this discussion.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.